Hello and good evening. Welcome to my Wings Unveiled conversation with the brown butterflies. My name is Nil, and as I bring special guests every week, my vision and goal is always to build community and connection. Today, we will be speaking and hearing from somebody very special. She has been working with me in a lot of things that I've been enrolled in, and we have become very close. I want to introduce Dr. Paula Perez, joining us from Hudson Valley, upstate New York. Her story of triumph over adversity will touch your heart and uplift your spirit. Dr. Perez is a speaker and author of 2 books, an educator. Thank you for taking the time out from your very busy schedule to join us today.
It is my pleasure to be here. Been looking forward to this.
Good. Me too.
Yes.
We've been through a lot, right?
Oh boy, have we. We survived though. We're doing it.
Yes, we always do. Always do. So I see those 2 books. I'm dying to hear about that, but we'll wait for a minute or two. I want to start with asking about your personal story, your experience that gave you that aha, or when you hit rock bottom, whatever it was. I want to hear it. And I want to know when you decided, okay, this is my mission. This is what I was meant to do.
Excellent. Good question. So my testimony, for lack of a better word, is that at the age of 16, I decided that I wanted to remain celibate. I was not going to have sex until I got married. Now, as a teenager, I really thought my life would mirror that of my parents. My parents went to college, and before my mom finished her senior year, they eloped. So, of course, I just thought I would go to college and soon after marry the love of my life. Mm-hmm. Well, that didn't happen. So as I entered my adult years, I remember the first couple of years being fine. I was establishing my career at the time. I was working for IBM and just enjoying it, bought my car, did all the things. And then one of my younger siblings got married. And at the wedding, one of the women said, so Paula, when are we going to have some cake? And I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, the waiters will be around in a minute. It'll be here. No. We're talking about your cake. Ooh. And I didn't know whether to slap her. What? I was so incensed because I write in my memoir that morning when I woke up, it was pouring rain, and it was almost as if heaven was crying for me. I was devastated. I was the firstborn. I was the eldest grandchild on one side and the 4th oldest on another. So, of course, I thought I would walk down the aisle and marry before anybody. And that just didn't happen. And friends and family members continued to get married. And that really sent me into, okay, I got to find him. Where's my man? I got to get married. And I really built a reputation of being desperate. As the kids say today, she's thirsty. So although I wasn't physically active, having sex with anyone, I certainly was throwing myself at every guy that I thought was a Christian, that loved Jesus. And I was trying to get their attention. And I remember so distinctly the sense that God said to me, Paula, am I not enough? I've given you everything. You have a wonderful career. At that time, I had my doctorate, had done all of these things, built a successful career, did all of this. And it was in that moment that I realized, okay, Paula, you have got to get your priorities straight. You've got to get it together. And it was then that I embraced a principle that's encapsulated in an acronym that the Lord gave me, that is STEP. And STEP stands for showing self-love, trusting in a higher power. And for me, that's Jesus, enriching others, and pursuing your purpose. And once I fell in line with that, I really started enjoying my life. I traveled, had a real close network of friends and family that supported and loved me. And I just enjoyed my life. And then 3 or 4 years after that, by this time, I'm 48, still not married, but still enjoying my life. But I really felt, you ever get that gut feeling that something's going to happen? I was running a women's retreat. And at this retreat, I announced to the women, you know what? I feel like I'm going to be married in the year. So I went to the gym. I started saving for a wedding dress. I did all the things. And would you believe, about 5 months later is when my now husband entered into my life. And even with that, the day we met, or I shouldn't say the day we met, because I knew him. He was in our church circles, but never attracted to him. In fact, couldn't stand him. I thought he was obnoxious and all of that. But the day that he saw me, the night before, I felt driven to be there. I was the principal at the time, and it was the end of the school year. So I was finally able to go. I didn't have paperwork to do over the weekend. So my father was in charge of this conference that met monthly. So I asked, can I get a ride with you? And he said, sure, as long as you're ready. I overslept. But I felt so driven to be there. I called around and found somebody that I could ride with to the city. That was the day I walked in. And he said, when I walked in the door, the light was shining from behind, and it was like, oh, she's going to be your wife. He called me the following Monday, asked me out. We went out. And that first date was so weird. It was when Facebook was just coming out. I had no idea how Facebook works. So he starts saying, well, I know your favorite book is The Shack, and I know you like the musical West Side Story. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this stalker? How's he know this stuff? So I finally said, how do you know this? He said, I looked you up on Facebook. That night, I went home, took everything down because it freaked me out. It freaked me out. I wound up going away for a month. And during that time, I was like, Lord, I know I said I'd be married in the year, but to him, Lord, if he's the one, you're going to have to give me some serious feelings because they are not there. He was not my type. He had nothing that I thought I needed and wanted in a husband. And in my memoir, I have a chapter that's entitled Throw Out the List. And that's just what happened. I came back a month later. The day I came back, I saw him at a church service. And that was it. It was as if Cupid hit me with an arrow and I was gone. And we were married 4 months from that day. So that's how quickly. Now we've been married almost 13 years. And it's been an amazing ride. He's truly, truly my purpose partner. So that's somewhat of my passion for working with single women that are believers that have the successful career, they enjoy their life, but now they're at a point where they're ready to share their life with someone else. So that's what I really feel my calling is right now. I've coached couples and done some things in that realm, but now I really want to focus on those single women, especially 35 and up, that, the world looks at you and you have it all except the man. And you're ready for it. You don't need the man to make you who you are, but you're ready to do life with someone. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, I love that you called him your purpose partner. Yes. I think that's just such a beautiful phrase because, you guys have found each other and it's not just for the sex or the companionship, you support each other at so many levels. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, so you worked at IBM, huh?
I did. See,
what was your role there?
I initially thought I wanted to be an engineer. I went to RPI, which is a prestigious engineering school in New York State. About a year into it, I said, what in the world am I doing here? I don't even like this stuff. I'm not passionate about it. I've always loved working with children. But my student teaching experience was so negative. I loved the kids, but at that age, at 21, I wasn't ready for the politics of education and all the adult drama. So instead, while I was doing my student teaching, I was also working at IBM, and they offered me a full-time job. So I started working at IBM the Monday after I graduated from college, full time. And about 9 years into my career there, I was at a Thanksgiving dinner, and I write about all of this in my memoir. So I was at a Thanksgiving dinner with a family member who was on the school board. And I took that time to just complain about the education that the kids weren't getting and how they could be doing so much better. And by that time, I had started a program called the King's Kids. And we were doing phenomenal things with those kids, doing complete productions where they were doing everything, memorizing pages of script, but then their teachers saying they didn't know how to read, things like that. So my aunt literally held up her hand and said, I don't want to hear it. You're sitting on a teaching degree and you could be doing something about the problem, but no, you're working at IBM, which got me thinking. So that year I turned in my letter of resignation, and the timing, God's timing is amazing. IBM in my area, I grew up in Kingston, New York, the first capital of New York. And IBM there was downsizing. So they were actually giving people bonuses to leave. So that money paid for my master's degree in education, and the rest is history. I fell in love with teaching. And I did that. I retired in 2018 to do full-time ministry, and then decided I want to write. And now, after 2 books and with some others in my head, I just have the desire to coach and help people learn the lessons that I've learned over my 62 years. I just turned 62 this week. So,
you do not look 62, young lady.
Thank you.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Wow. So 2 books. I'm going to put those names down here along with your website and your LinkedIn and your Calendly, so people can absolutely get in touch with you.
Love it.
So Dr. Perez, what I want to ask you is, so what would a client, let's say, who is, 35 or 40 years old, very successful, has great circle of friends, has, a wonderful career, but she's lacking that. What would she benefit after working with you and getting coached?
She would benefit because, first of all, my program is not cookie cutter. It is truly customized. I use a variety of screening tools that allow me to get some insight into your past, into your expectations, how you grew up, what the things were in your household. Because when we enter into a relationship, we all bring baggage with us. Mommy did it this way, the toilet paper goes that way. So I use a variety of tools to dig in and to find out what it is that, first of all, you're passionate about, what it is that raise red flags for you. I learned what your love language is and how you best receive love, and teach you all of those things. And we talk about just a variety of information, and it's really customized to the individual's life. I don't come with a planned program per se, but I want them to, I want to walk alongside of them. In fact, I call my coaching Yana Coaching, YANA, which is an acronym that stands for You Are Not Alone. But it's also a word that means God is gracious, He answers. And I really believe that for the women that I work with. And it's so exciting to watch them go through the transformation. I don't care how successful we are. We all have those areas where we feel a little insecure or maybe even imposter syndrome. And I help to delve into that and to uncover those areas that may be causing us to draw back and not be our authentic, true selves, and our magnetic selves that will help to attract their purpose partner. So I love the process. I love getting to know the women and their stories and the things that resonate with them. And again, in teaching, we have a saying, a guide on the side, not a sage on the stage. And I feel that way with the coaching as well. My job is to walk alongside, supporting, helping the women to come into their own aha moments where they can see, oh, okay, I realized what I was doing there, or no, I shouldn't have approached this man that way, or all of those types of things. So
Mhm.
it's a 12 year, Lord Jesus, not 12 years, 12 months. It's a year-long program, but I really feel transformation takes time.
Yeah.
And I really want the women to be successful with whatever they desire. And if it's a loving married relationship, I really believe I can help with my 4-step framework. Again, showing self-love, trusting in a higher power, and trusting God is more than just trusting that he exists. It
Mhm.
is understanding that there is a plan for your life. There is a process, and to trust that the timing will be right.
Right.
So I love the work and love working with the women.
And it shows you're like smiling and glowing when you talk about it. Would you feel like sharing one success story that you recently,
I'd
shared?
love to. There is a young lady that I just met earlier this year. In fact, met her January 1st of this
Mm.
year, and had an opportunity to meet with her. I shared my book, Boundaries. I was still writing with it and actually asked her to do some beta reading for me. She loved the book, asked if I would coach her. And
Mm.
I am proud to say that this September, my husband and I married her and her fiance, and they're doing fabulously well. So I know what we do works. She often talks about how tough it was in terms of digging into her past. It
Mm.
brought up some childhood issues that she had not dealt with. And
Mhm.
once she dealt with those things, it was just like her heart was open to
Wow.
receiving that love. And her now husband is just an amazing man. He too was on a journey, and they met shortly before I met Siobhan. And I
Mhm.
was able to usher them through all of those dating stages. And my husband and I coached the two of them to
Oh,
marriage. So yeah, it's just phenomenal. My husband is a pastor, so
okay.
we also have that going for us.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, do you feel overall people, are more open to coming and asking for coaching?
I totally do. I have seen a major shift since
Mhm.
COVID.
Okay.
It definitely used to be taboo, especially in the Black community. But once COVID and the trauma of watching George Floyd killed, um, all of those things brought up so many emotions and trauma that was in our body. There's a book that's out that says the body keeps the score.
Absolutely.
And I think collectively, Black and brown people felt the pain, felt just really the trauma. And it was a freedom to be able to openly discuss and to share. So I think coming out of COVID with all of that isolation and all of that death, people craved connection. And
Mhm.
coaching has been a great way for people to learn how to reconnect and how to be open and vulnerable to be able to put themselves out there
Out
and
there. Yeah.
receive.
And you are such a warm person. I can only imagine, how safe a space you create for your clients. So that's really beautiful.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of coaches out there. We know that. So how do you truly differentiate yourself
I
from?
think first of all, I've lived the life. I know a lot of people, uh, and my target audiences are Christian women, people that call themselves saved. And for many people that I know that are coaching, they are teaching and coaching from an experience of, I wish I had done it. I wish I did it this way, but learn from me because I made mistakes, but now I got it together. Well, thank God I didn't have that experience. I set a goal, I set a journey for myself in terms of the way I wanted to enter a marriage relationship. and was able to do that for 49 years. So I know the life of a single. I know the life of a seasoned single, a woman that's 35 and older, that again, the world looks at you and you seem to have everything. And many times they look at us like, well, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
What's wrong with you that you're not married? And I want to be able to show the women there's nothing wrong with you. You just have to embrace and love all that God has put in you, because I really believe that each of us has been placed on this planet for a purpose. It was purposeful that we were born in this time. It was purposeful that we were born in the conditions that we were born. And they're not always positive. It's not always, the Brady Bunch and the Cosbys with these happy endings. I recognize that. But I believe that people can overcome anything from their past with the help of the Lord. And that just again, my passion for people to live their best life is so genuine. I think they sense that, oh, she really does want this for me. And I think that just makes it magnetic. People want to be around people that make them feel good. They want to be around people that are supportive and that can help them to achieve their goals. And I know I can do that.
Yeah, you literally manifested what you wanted, right? So I think that's a great way of putting it as well, right?
Yes. Words have power.
Yes.
Indefinitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I think I remember you saying you had like picked out your wedding dress before you even met him, right?
Sure did. Saved up that money. I went to the gym. I got up at 6 every morning and went to the gym for an hour. At the time, I had opened a pre-K program at our church. So I had a little more flexibility. So I'd go to the gym, then go to receive the children. And we were always outside when I had the preschool. I was always taking them on hikes and walking to the park. So I was in the best shape ever. And so I was ready. And I often say to the women, if we stay ready, we don't have to get ready. So, be your best self always. So I thank God I entered my marriage, no debt, totally debt free. So all of those things, there's so many things that we can do so that we truly are an asset to a relationship rather than a drain. So we touch on all of those types of things to be able to help the women.
Wonderful. Again, all her information is in the post, so you know how you can get a hold of her. My last question for you, Paula, is in two parts. Being through everything that you've been through, and what would you tell your younger teenage self if you could talk to her today?
Would you believe in my memoir, the 49-year-old virgin, delayed, not denied? I actually did that. I wrote a letter to my 16-year-old self. And one of the things I talked about is you're going to do a lot of stupid things. And in the book, for instance, I was engaged prior to meeting my husband, and I called off the relationship. But I should have had a clue when the man took me to the jewelry store and, like the movie, said, "What do you want?" He laid it out in front of me. I picked the ring that I wanted. We went up to the register and he said, "Paula, can I hold your credit card?" And the dumb thing is, I gave it to him. Wow. So I talked to myself and say, you're going to do a lot of stupid things, but things will work out because of your faith in Jesus, because you're trusting the plan that he has for your life. And one of my favorite verses is in Jeremiah, and it talks about the fact that God has a plan for our life. His desire is that we prosper, that we have good success. So I just really believe that, and that really lived with that concept in mind, that even if something was delayed, it didn't have to be denied, and that it would be worth the wait.
That's beautiful. Beautiful way to end this beautiful interview that we have today. So to our listeners, I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time, may your wings carry you to new heights of self-discovery and personal growth. I'm Nil, and I thank you for being part of my community. Until next time, keep soaring, brown butterflies.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.